There is a veil that separates this world from another, and sometimes it thins. Imagine this. You wake in the dead of night. The air is still. Something feels off. You glance at the clock, 3:33 a.m. A shadow flickers. No sound, no movement, just presence. A feeling that someone or something is watching. Not malevolent, not friendly, simply aware. You've felt it before, haven't you? That eerie sensation that you're not alone, that the air is charged, that if you reached out far enough you could touch the other side. This, my friend, is not imagination. It is contact with the veil, the ancient boundary whispered about in every sacred tradition, from the Egyptian Book of the Dead to the teachings of the Vedas, from the shamanic rites of the Amazon to the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. But what is the veil? Is it a wall, a membrane, a metaphor? Or could it be the last illusion standing between you and the truth of your multidimensional nature? In today's exploration, we tear away the layers of mystification and dive headfirst into the real meaning of the veil between worlds. We'll decode how ancient civilizations understood it not as superstition, but as technology of the soul. We'll uncover why modern science is only now catching up, and how mystical experiences, visions, dreams, déjà vu are fragments of that veil dissolving. And then we'll go deeper. We'll expose the esoteric paradox. The veil is not only outside you, it is you. By the end of this journey, you may no longer see the world the same way, or yourself. So stay with me, because the veil is thinning, and you're about to remember what's been hidden all along. In the beginning, there was no veil, only one. Unity, wholeness, light undivided. Then came the fall, not of man, but of awareness. The concept of the veil is far older than any modern spiritual fad. It appears across countless traditions, cloaked in different names, but always whispering the same truth. There is more to this world than we are taught to see. In ancient Egypt, it was known as the Shen-Netcher divine curtain, a metaphysical boundary between the physical realm and the Duat, the unseen dimension of spirits, ancestors, and gods. Egyptian priests didn't simply worship deities. They navigated between worlds, mastering rituals that allowed them to pierce this veil and commune with the other side. The Greeks told a similar tale. In their mystery schools, Eleusis, Delphi, Samothrace initiation wasn't about knowledge, it was about remembering. Plato wrote that our souls dwell in a cave, mistaking shadows for truth. The veil, in this case, was ignorance itself, a mental illusion. Over in the East, the Upanishads spoke of Maya, the illusion of separateness. But Maya wasn't mere deception, it was the curtain that protects the uninitiated from seeing too much, too soon. For behind Maya, behind the illusion, lies the eternal self-atman unified with Brahman, the All. In the Kabbalistic tradition, the tree of life is veiled by the mysterious paraket, a spiritual partition that divides the physical world, Malkuth, from the higher spheres. This veil wasn't seen as a punishment but a sacred filter, shielding humanity from divine radiance until one is ready to bear the light. Even indigenous shamans, from the Amazon to Siberia, describe the world as layered. The veil isn't just a boundary, it's a living membrane, vibrating, pulsating, responsive to intention, ceremony, and altered states. With the right plants, chants, or trance, one could pass through it not by force, but by frequency. So why was this knowledge buried? Why did the veil become metaphor instead of map? Because those in power feared what lay beyond. To pierce the veil is to step beyond control, systems, religion, politics, identity. It is to remember that you are not just human, you are multidimensional. And for centuries, this remembering was forbidden. Burned, banned, silenced. The Gnostic Gospels were hidden in clay jars for nearly 2 millennia. The Hermetic texts were hunted down. Female mystics labeled witches. Eastern wisdom turned into dogma. Western magic buried in symbols. And so, the veil grew thick, not because the realms grew apart, but because we were trained not to look. But something changed. Across time, the veil thins in cycles. Solstices, eclipses, equinoxes, death, birth, trauma, awakening. And now, in this age of digital distraction and soul hunger, the veil is stirring once more. Ancient memory is returning, the symbols reawaken, the sacred texts re-emerge, the dreams grow more vivid, the synchronicities accelerate. Because we're not just remembering history, we're remembering ourselves. The veil is not a curtain you pull back. It is a lens you must cleanse, a code you must remember, a part of yourself you must reclaim. So let's ask the question at the heart of the mystery. What exactly is the veil? To understand it, imagine a dream. Your fully immersed colors, sounds, even emotions feel real. Then, suddenly, you wake up. What changed? Not the dream world, but your state of consciousness. The veil, then, is not a barrier between here and there, but a shift in awareness. It is the threshold between limited perception and expanded vision, between what your senses tell you is true and what your spirit has always known. In esoteric traditions, this veil is often symbolized by the mist, the fog, or the shimmering film, a semi-transparent illusion that cloaks reality. Not because reality wants to hide, but because the untrained mind cannot yet grasp its full spectrum. Think of a radio. You can only hear one station at a time, but the others are still broadcasting. Likewise, our five senses tune us into one frequency, the material world. The veil exists because we are unaware of the other channels. These other channels, realms of spirit, thought forms, ancestral memory, archetypal being sexist right here, overlaid with ours. Not up there, not far away, but right beside you, just vibrating at a different frequency. The veil is the frequency gap. And you are the tuner. Now, let's go deeper. In Hermeticism, there's a concept called as above, so below. It's not a poetic phrase, it's a mechanism. The inner world reflects the outer. Your unconscious mind and the cosmos are mirrors of each other. So if there is a veil between worlds, then there is also a veil within you. Every fear you suppress, every truth you ignore, every trauma you bury, these form layers, and each layer is a fold in the veil. You don't just pierce the veil by looking outward, but by looking inward. And here's the paradox that has baffled seekers for centuries. The veil is not just the thing that hides the truth, it is made of the very beliefs that prevent you from seeing it. Let that sink in. We are not locked out of higher realms, we are locked in by inherited assumptions. That we are only flesh and bone. That time moves only forward. That death is an end. That reality is objective and fixed. These are not facts, these are filters. The veil is made of conditioning. But just as you were taught to see the world one way, you can be taught to or remember to see it otherwise. Ancient initiates knew this. That's why they didn't just study books. They underwent rites. They fasted, danced, meditated, drank sacred brews, chanted mantras, held silence. Because the veil doesn't lift with information. It dissolves with transformation. But transformation is messy. It dissolves ego. It shatters illusions. And that's why, when the veil does begin to thin, whether through spiritual practice, trauma, psychedelics, or near-death experiences, it can be terrifying. Visions appear. Time bends. You feel energies that defy logic. Your reality fractures, then reforms into something vast, interconnected, eternal. And in that moment, you understand. The veil was never out there, it was always inside you, just waiting for you to see. The veil doesn't just part with light, it also parts with shadows, because to pierce it is to see not only the truth but everything you've hidden from yourself. When we speak of the veil thinning, most imagine angelic visions, downloads of divine knowledge, or otherworldly beauty. And yes, that's part of it, but the full truth is far less romantic. Because the moment you breach the veil, duality collapses. Right and wrong, time and space, good and evil, self and other, all of it melts into paradox. The mind panics, the ego resists, because it has built its identity upon these walls. So when the veil thins, it doesn't just reveal the spiritual world. It reveals your world as spiritual already, always. This realization is destabilizing. You begin to question everything. You see symbols in places you never noticed. You feel emotions that aren't yours. You sense the dead, the unborn, the higher selves of strangers. Time folds. Synchronicity becomes language. And then, you realize something else. You are not the observer. You are being observed. Many spiritual traditions, from the Tibetan Book of the Dead to the Gnostic texts of Nag Hammadi, warn, when the veil lifts, so too does your disguise. You can no longer pretend. Your inner frequency becomes visible to everything that dwells beyond. This is why ancient initiates were carefully trained not just to open their third eye, but to cleanse their heart, to ground their soul, to face their shadows before approaching the threshold. Because entities beyond the veil are not good or evil, they are resonant, they respond to your frequency. Fear attracts distortion, clarity invites guidance. And so, the veil is also protection. It keeps the unprepared from activating more than they can integrate. But let's turn to myth, because myth preserves what science forgets. In the story of Ishtar descending into the underworld, she passes through 7 gates, removing a piece of clothing at each symbolizing ego, status, identity. Only when she stands nakedra and true can she reach the inner chamber. There, she dies, and is reborn. This isn't just a story, it's a map. The veil is layered, and you must shed illusions to pass. Likewise, in the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." This is the essence of veil work. It is not about escapism, it is not about cosmic tourism, it is the alchemy of awareness where you refine your perception until reality reveals its multiplicity. And it's happening more often now. Reports of shared dreams, parallel timelines, ancestral contact, spontaneous healing, and even bleed-throughs of other realities are increasing. What's changing? The collective veil is thinning. And it must. Because our current world rooted in materialism, division, and digital hypnosis collapsing under its own weight, the old illusion no longer holds. We are being called to remember, not in theory, but in visceral experience. So, if you've been feeling disoriented, if your dreams are more vivid, if reality feels less solid, you are not breaking. You are seeing through. You are approaching the veil not as a wall, but as a threshold of transformation. One step further, and nothing will ever be the same. The veil is not something you tear with force. It yields only to stillness, to presence, to the frequency of remembrance. If all of this feels overwhelming good, that means you're standing at the edge of something real. But awareness without embodiment is like staring at a door you never open. So now we ask, how do we begin to work with the veil not just as mystics, but as humans living in a busy, chaotic world? Let's start simple. The veil responds to frequency, and your frequency is shaped by 3 things: your breath, your attention, your intention. 1. Breath as a bridge. In nearly every mystical tradition, the breath is sacred not just for life, but for access. Conscious breathing alters your brainwaves, slowing the mental chatter that thickens the veil. Try this. Sit in stillness. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Do this for 5 minutes daily, eyes closed. Let your awareness soften, let the edges blur. This is not meditation, it's tuning. 2. Thin veil times. The veil is not fixed. It pulses, thins, and folds, especially during 3 o'clock, 4 a.m., the veil hour, equinoxes and solstices, full or new moons, moments of transition, birth, death, heartbreak, initiation. Keep a journal during these times. Ask questions before sleep. Record synchronicities, symbols, dreams. Over time, you'll notice a pattern, and that pattern is the veil opening for you. 3. Sacred space ritual. Create a veil-crossing space in your home. It can be simple: a small table, a candle, a symbol that resonates with the unseen, a feather, crystal, ancient coin, or photo of an ancestor. At dawn or dusk, sit before it. Light the candle, speak aloud. I open the space between seen and unseen. Let only that which serves my soul step forth. Then just listen, not with your ears, but with your entire being. 4. Shadow integration. As we've said, you cannot cross the veil cleanly while burdened with suppressed shadows. So each time you feel fear, anger, shame, pause. Ask, what is this emotion protecting me from? Is this mine or inherited? What truth hides beneath this reaction? Writing these answers daily is not spiritual journaling, it is veil surgery. 5. Symbolic dialogue. Begin asking the veil to speak back through dreams, signs, music, even strangers. Use a sigil, mantra, or symbolic question. For example, show me what I must remember. Reveal what I am ready to see. Place the phrase somewhere visible. Watch what happens over the next 24 hours. But know this, working with the veil requires respect, not control. It is not a tool to exploit. It is a relationship to nurture. The more reverent your approach, the clearer your sight. And if strange things begin to happen in panic, if a dream feels like a message, it probably is. If you sense someone watching with calm, non-threatening presence, it may be your guide. If time bends, or déjà vu floods your day, you are syncing with the deeper pattern. So be gentle, be present. And above all, be curious. Because the veil does not hide secrets from you. It beckons. You were never meant to fear the unknown. You were meant to remember it. So now, as the candle dims and the echoes settle, ask yourself, have you truly been seeing the world as it is? Or only through the veil you were told to accept? The truth is, the veil was never meant to be a wall. It was a filtera, sacred pause before revelation. A gentle veil between the music and the silence, between what you think you are and what you truly are. A soul, a bridge, a witness to many worlds. You are not here to break the veil. You are here to honor it, to dance along its edge with humility and fire, to become fluent in both silence and song, to see the world of form and the world of spirit not as opposites but reflections. Because the more you awaken to what lies beyond, the more you realize it was never separate. Not really. The seen and unseen, life and afterlife, human and divine, they all exist in layers. And you, dear listener, are the thread that stitches them. So what now? Let the dream awaken inside you. Let this knowledge not just the words, but the frequency live in your breath, your questions, your quiet moments. Watch the world shift. And when you next feel that whisper in the dark, that soft shimmer behind your thoughts, don't turn away. Don't silence it. Look closer. Listen deeper. Because the veil is not closing. It's calling. And perhaps, just perhaps, it's time you answered. If this stirred something in you, let it live on. Share this light. Subscribe for more forgotten truths remembered, and comment below. What have you seen beyond the veil?